Who controls the Internet? The system that can disconnect a country. Imagine waking up and discovering that the Internet still exists everywhere else, but not where you live. Your phone still connects to a mobile tower. Your router still has power. The websites you use have not disappeared, but messages do not leave the country. International news pages will not open. Online payments begin to fail. Cloud software stops responding. Companies lose contact with customers, suppliers, and data centers abroad. The Internet has not been destroyed. Your country has simply been separated from it. This is not a theoretical scenario. Governments have ordered nationwide and regional Internet shutdowns during protests, elections, conflicts, and even school examinations. In some cases, access disappears for several hours. In others, entire populations remain disconnected for days. But this creates a difficult question. If nobody owns the Internet, how can anyone switch it off? The answer begins with a common misunderstanding. The Internet is not one machine. It is not one company, one cable, or one government system. It is a network of networks. Thousands of Internet service providers, mobile operators, universities, governments, technology companies, cloud platforms, and data centers operate their own networks. These networks agree to exchange traffic using common technical standards. No single organization controls all of them, but every layer of the system has its own gatekeepers. The first layer is physical. When people imagine international Internet communication, they often think of satellites. But most international data does not travel through space. It travels beneath the oceans. Hundreds of submarine fiber optic cable systems connect continents. According to the International Telecommunication Union, submarine cables carry approximately 99% of international data traffic. These cables carry video calls, financial transactions, cloud computing traffic, government communications, and the ordinary web requests made by billions of people. They are owned and operated by private companies and groups of companies. Telecommunications firms once dominated the industry. Today, major technology companies also invest directly in cable systems because their cloud platforms and online services require enormous amounts of international capacity. But owning a cable does not mean owning the Internet. A cable is only one route in a much larger network. Most connected countries use several submarine or terrestrial routes. If one cable is damaged, traffic may be redirected through another country or another cable. This redundancy is one reason the global Internet is difficult to destroy. But resilience is not distributed equally. Some countries have many cable landing stations, several international providers, local data centers, and busy Internet exchange points. Others depend on one or two international routes. For them, a damaged cable, a failed border connection, or a government order can have much greater consequences. The Internet Society has documented cases in which disruptions inside one country also affected a neighboring country that depended on it for international connectivity. Physical geography, therefore, creates digital power. The companies that own cables control capacity. The operators of landing stations control important gateways. Governments control permits, territorial access, and the laws under which these facilities operate. But cables alone do not decide where information travels. For that, the Internet needs a routing system. Every large network connected to the Internet can be understood as an autonomous system. An Internet provider may operate one. A cloud company, university, government agency, or multinational corporation may operate another. Each autonomous system manages its own internal network and announces which Internet addresses it can reach. These announcements are exchanged through the Border Gateway Protocol, known as BGP. BGP is often described as the postal system of the Internet. It does not carry the package itself. It tells networks which route the package should follow. When you open a website in another country, your data may pass through several autonomous systems. Each network forwards it toward the next network until it reaches its destination. There is no single global control room choosing every route. Networks continuously share routing information with one another. This decentralized design makes the Internet flexible. If one route disappears, another may become available. But the same system also creates powerful control points. A government does not need to shut down the entire global Internet. It only needs authority over the major Internet providers operating inside its borders. Those providers can be ordered to stop announcing routes, disable international connections, block selected Internet addresses, interfere with domain name lookups, or restrict mobile data. From outside the country, its networks may appear to disappear from the global routing table. From inside, users may still have local connectivity but lose access to the wider world. This is how a network designed without one central switch can still be shut down at a national level. The number and diversity of providers matter. If a country has only a few large gateways, authorities can issue orders to a small number of operators. If it has many independent providers, international routes, exchange points, and locally hosted services, a complete shutdown becomes more difficult. This is why Internet resilience is not only about speed, it is also about diversity. The next layer is the Domain Name System, or DNS. Humans use names such as example.com. Computers use numerical Internet Protocol addresses. DNS connects the two. It is often called the Internet's address book. At the top of this system is the DNS root zone, coordinated through the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, known as ICANN. This has created another popular myth. Some people believe that ICANN, the United States, or a small group of people holds a master key that can turn off the Internet. That is not how the system works. ICANN coordinates unique identifiers such as domain names and Internet number resources. It does not control Internet content or decide how packets travel. The root server system is also far more distributed than its name suggests. 12 independent operators manage 13 root identities, represented by more than 1,500 individual server instances distributed around the world. These servers provide referral information that helps DNS resolvers find top-level domains. They do not route ordinary Internet traffic. And most DNS questions are answered from cached information without contacting a root server at all. So controlling DNS is not the same as controlling the whole Internet, but DNS can still be used as a local control point. An Internet provider can make selected domain names difficult to resolve. A government can require providers to block specific services. Authorities can also combine DNS interference with Internet protocol blocking, traffic filtering, or severe throttling. These methods do not always create a complete blackout. Sometimes the Internet remains technically available but becomes almost unusable. A messaging service may stop working. Video platforms may become too slow to load. Mobile networks may remain active while fixed connections continue normally. Or the opposite may happen. This is the difference between censorship, service blocking, throttling, and a full Internet shutdown. They are different tools, but they can be used toward the same objective, controlling the movement of information. The modern Internet also depends on another layer of power: private platforms, and cloud infrastructure. A small number of companies operate services used by billions of people. They run social networks, app stores, search engines, cloud platforms, content delivery networks, and major data centers. These companies do not own the entire Internet, but they can determine whether an application remains available, whether an account can reach an audience, where data is stored, and which rules users must follow. Governments may order platforms to remove content or restrict services. Platforms may leave a market because of legal pressure. Cloud providers may suspend customers who violate policies or sanctions. This means Internet power is divided between public authority and private infrastructure. Governments control laws, licenses, borders, and national providers. Telecommunications companies control cables, towers, and access networks. Network operators control routing policies. ICANN and the technical community coordinate names, numbers, and standards. Technology companies control many of the platforms as data centers, where online life now takes place. No single actor controls everything, but several actors working together can control a great deal. The consequences of a shutdown extend far beyond social media. Hospitals may lose access to cloud systems. Businesses cannot process orders. Banks and payment providers may struggle to verify transactions. Students lose access to lessons. Families cannot contact relatives. Emergency information becomes harder to distribute. The Internet Society recorded 133 shutdown incidents during 2024. Some were national. Others affected particular regions, mobile networks, or online services. Authorities have justified shutdowns as responses to unrest, security threats, misinformation, and examination cheating. But the technical and economic damage is rarely limited to the intended target. Different services often share the same infrastructure. Blocking one platform can disrupt unrelated applications. Cutting international routes can also affect foreign users trying to reach services hosted inside the disconnected country. The effect can even cross borders when neighboring networks depend on the same routes. This is why Internet shutdowns reveal something important about the system. The Internet is global, but access is still local. The worldwide network may be decentralized, yet most people reach it through a small number of companies operating under national law. That final connection gives governments enormous influence. The future may make this conflict even more important. Some governments want greater digital sovereignty. They want local data centers, national cloud services, domestic domain name infrastructure, and the ability to keep essential systems running even if international connections fail. Some of these investments can improve resilience. Local exchange points and data centers can keep domestic traffic inside the country, reduce costs, and protect users during cable failures. But the same infrastructure can also make centralized monitoring and control easier if independent routes and legal protections disappear. The world could gradually move from one open global internet towards several more controlled digital regions. Different countries may impose different technical standards, data rules, identity systems, and platform restrictions. The internet would still exist. But it might no longer work as one borderless network. So who controls the internet? No single country, company, or organization. Real control is divided across layers. Cable operators control physical routes. Internet providers control access. Networks control routing. Technical organizations coordinate names and numbers. Platforms control many of the services people use. and governments control the laws that bind these systems together inside their borders. There is no single button that turns off the global internet. But when a country controls enough of its own gateways, it can disconnect its people from the rest of the world. The internet was built as a network of networks. Its greatest strength is that no one controls all of it. Its greatest weakness is that most people still enter it through gates controlled by someone else. Will the future internet remain one open global network? Or will it divide into separate digital territories? Share your opinion in the comments. Subscribe to Past, Present, Truth, and we will see you in the next documentary.